Hello, brothers and our beloved sisters. This is J.A. Rogers here, Mike side, one more time. Welcoming you to Black Men Declare. We want to share a perspective from a male point of view, and even from point of view that goes through the decades. We are covering about 3 different decades on this discussion level in this panel today. Starting us off today is our very own Dr. William Tell. Dr. Tell, what's on your heart, my brother?
Well, greetings to you and greetings to our sisters and our brothers of Black Men Declare. Wanted to talk about something that I noticed during the DNC this week. The Democratic National Convention. I noticed that not last night, on Wednesday night, that Coach Tim Walt's family was highlighted. And throughout the week, all week long, the Democrats were talking about relationships and talking about family and talking about how they come together and how our vice president, she has a sister, she has her nieces and what have you, and how they all come together and they're family oriented. One of the things that I noticed last night, or rather the other night, Wednesday night, was that Tim Watt's son, Gus, and his daughter, Hope, was very emotional. And they were very proud and thankful for their father and their mother and how they showed a lot of emotion. And I started thinking about it and said, have I ever seen the Trump family emotional about Donald Trump? And I started thinking about it and thinking that I have never seen them emotional. And then you have so many commentators now who are talking about Gus, and he is the son, and they're saying that he is autistic and that he's on the spectrum. And the fact that he was very emotional and crying and stuff, and now people are talking about him. And there is a concern that why would you be talking about this young man who really can't defend himself, Republicans that is, but you never spoke about Barron. You never allow anyone to say anything about Donald Trump's youngest son, Barron. And, back in the day when you was in the neighborhood, you could talk about anything. You can talk about me, but when you start talking about my family, those were fighting words. So I wanted to bring out the point today and ask the opinion of you all and of our listening audience. Do you feel that the Democratic Convention did a great job with pointing out the necessary need or the necessary families coming to support one another? Or do you feel that when you are talking about someone, you should just reference them and not their families? And then when you do talk about somebody's family, then that means that you give them right to talk about your family. Again, I just saw the emotion that Gus and Hope had concerning their father. I saw the crying from Kamala Harris, our vice president, with her stepchildren and her goddaughters, and even her husband, and how emotional they were, and it didn't look like it was pretend. So I guess again, my question is: do you feel that family members should be off limits when you discussing someone in their political race? And then two, if you do talk about someone's family, do you give other people right then to talk about your family? And wanted to see what people thought about the fact that they've never seen. Well, I apologize. There was one time when Trump did show some emotions towards his daughters, and he said how attractive she was, but that was kind of creepy. So just wanted to get you all's opinion on showing emotion and its families should be off limits.
Peace, brother. Actually, I think the Democrats did do an excellent job of displaying family. And actually, Tim Walz's son, man, that was a moment, man. For you can't be human, I think, and not see that as a moment. And to answer your question brief, succinctly, is as it relates to his family offhand, I think it depends on what the situation is. If you bring your family into it, and they're attached to you, and that's what you're talking about, then all fair is love and war. Now, saying that, I caution myself and I caution my family, my mom, my aunts. I told them, don't. It's okay to feel good about the stories that are being portrayed, but make sure some real issues are being talked about, and you're not, getting all emotional about something that is not going to make our family better. I'm far removed from the emotional tactics that the Democrats are very good at. Scare tactics, family tactics, things like that. They're very good at it. And I'm just past that. At this juncture in my life, I'm past that. So while I do find Tim Walz's son, that moment that he had, it was very appealing as a man who has children, and seeing Michelle and Barack and the way they embrace each other and talk, man, you couldn't help but to feel that love and embrace. Now, I'm gonna be truthful. I have to be truthful as I'm saying this. I didn't feel that from Kamala and Walt. I felt the exact words that they're saying, partner. I'm just looking from the outside. I felt that when they was talking, it was about partnership. But when Michelle and Barack was talking and Waltz was talking, it was about my wife, this person that I've loved and everything. But from Kamala's perspective, I only felt partnership. That's just me. But that's how I view it, brother. Peace.
Dr. Tell, you ask a very deep, reflective question. Families are precious. And I do believe that was one of those moments when you see someone, I'm assuming somewhat autistic, like crying to say, that's my daddy. That's my daddy. Like proudly, like, it was indeed a moment. And so, and you can run with that either way. You can make it positive or negative, but it was indeed a moment. And, this looks like one of those families you hear about. And I guess it'll be interesting to see what they claim was these 30 trips that he made to China. Supposedly went on his honeymoon in China and had 30 trips to China over a period of time. And I said, well, perhaps he just enjoyed China. But I think they're setting it up, brothers, to where they're going to try to attack him from some standpoint. Oh, he's not such a family man after all. And what do the Chinese have on him? And has he been doing this or that or whatever? So you never know, man, in politics on what's going to go down and what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, in general, I'm of the mindset as well that family should be off limits. But here's the difference. When you have someone whose skill set is to play on words to create division and hatred and animosity and antagonism and all of that, you cannot afford not to respond in like manner. You cannot afford to say, oh, we're going to take the high road. Oh, no. No, you got to get down and dirty, because if you don't, all of the lies that'll be spilled about you can destroy you. And so you'll be guilty of going down without even taking a challenge to the truth. So yeah, family is sacred, but it's like they say, if you throw some cold water on my family, I'm gonna throw some cold water on your family. So let's just be cool and leave the families out. The same go for religions. Let's be cool and leave them out. The same go for all of that other stuff, sexual preferences. Let's just get together and work on the problems that really impact America and specifically Black America. Dr. Tell, that's kind of what's on my heart. You may want to come and close it up.
No, I agree, and I think you all brought out great points, and definitely agree with you all that it is something that you have to warn your family about, creating tough skin, and learn how to not be so reactive. One of the things that I've always liked about Barack Obama, he used to always say, don't boo, vote. So he was always saying, don't just be reactive, go out and do something. And I think that that's the mindset that anyone who is running for politics or in a position of leadership, you have to warn your family that such activities will happen.
Amen. Amen. Well, Denmark, what's going on in your world?
My brother, peace to my brothers. I forgot to get a greetings to my brothers, my colleagues in this fight for truth, freedom, justice, and equality on Black Men Declare. For me, I want to stay with the elected Democratic National Convention. And I see that I'm a person right now, to be truthful, that's not going to vote for Trump, not sold on Kamala, and I'm just looking for the right messages to come out to give me the energy, the momentum to go out and cast that vote for Kamala, or go ahead and do what I was originally going to do. But I think he may be dropping out, which is Robert F. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy may be dropping out, or Cornel West. But I'm just looking for things to come out to speak to issues that I'm concerned about. And last night, out of all the issues that came out, I think two was touched on that actually affects me and my thinking, and that is the border crisis and the issue with Palestine and Israel. And on the border issue, I didn't hear much that was going to be different. That was going to be different than what President Biden is going to do. That kind of deterred me, because I am a Black man with a Black family. That, to be truthful, I know that in one of the cities that I grew up in, like, that is a serious issue, with jobs being taken by immigrants who are coming over, that are given benefits, that have access to things that people who helped build this country, families of people who helped build this country, are not getting. I didn't hear much to clear that up. And then I heard every time that there was a little momentum on talking about the issue of Palestine, she jumped right back to, but I'm going to support Israel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And everything was still geared towards Israel. To be frank, abortion doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my family. That's not something that is near and dear to my heart. So, but they spent a lot of time on that issue, and a lot of time on talking about Project 25. But I heard nothing that made me come out and say after that I am for sure going to place my vote for Kamala and Tim Walz. That being said, I wanted to hear what you brothers think. Have enough issues been talked about for you to make you say that I'm for sure going to vote for Kamala Harris? Your mics are open.
Yeah, Dr. Denmark, I would definitely say that there have not been enough talk and discussion about subject matters that would affect people of color, and nothing I was disappointed also because of the fact that she was really pushing this whole Israel, and I only thing I can think about is the fact that when you use words like that, you sort of thinking, okay, then this Israel, we got to support Israel, and it's the same Israel as what we read in the Old Testament. And so many people don't realize that it is not the same. I would like for us to, I would like for them to have discussed subject matters that are closer to my heart, such as interest rates and infrastructure. When you see the United States as a whole and you see the infrastructure of the United States is desperately in need of support and attention. But to give all of this money to overseas efforts and we won't see any great benefit to it, then I do see it as the same old song. That in itself is, disappointing. And I can be honest, I'm going to vote for them because I don't want to vote for him. And that's 45. So unfortunately, my vote is being cast due to the fact that I'm choosing the lesser of the two evils. As always, blessings to you all.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad situation to say you may be taking that approach, but let me get specifically to the question where there are enough issues identified, resolved, or dealt with that would cause me to vote for this president nominee for the Democrat, Miss Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Well, I look at it like this. I have already gotten part of that done because there's no way I could see voting for 45. So now the only thing I would have to get to is would I then use that to vote for a libertarian candidate? If JFK is dropping out, if West is dropping out, then that kind of eliminates that possibility. Then you go to, well, okay, I just won't vote. And then my conscience won't allow me to do that because our ancestors gave up too much. And I actually had an opportunity to live with one of those ancestors that was born in 1860. So I remember 1865. So for that reason, I will cast a vote. At this moment, I would say I'm pretty much there. I would like to hear more from this new ticket that the Democrats have. I too have not heard enough of specifics, and I hope some of the current leaders in the Democratic Party, I hope they themselves, cause some kind of additional conversation to take place on what specifically, and I keep saying this over and over, new recreational facilities in urban areas, including swimming pools, new baseball diamonds in urban areas, including some little bleachers. This is what's needed. And so I would like to see if they're going to deal with those. But at this moment, I'm about that too, about 80%. But I know I won't be going the other way, regardless of what takes place on this side from here on out. I share that in love. Okay, then Mark, I don't know if that covers it for you, but you want to wrap it up?
Yes. Again, people may ask, well, what does a black man in America is concerned about Israel and about what it does in Palestine? It's because I see that as a broader effort by Israel to attack nations in the Middle East and in Africa without warrant. And that should alarm anyone. But then I would have the same question, well, what does white people in America, why are they concerned about Ukraine and Russia? So I always look at issues abroad and see how it can possibly affect us here in America. And me being a Muslim, I always see anything that Israel does and their relationship to Muslim countries as a possibility to what will be tried here in America. So that is one. And on the border crisis, we have to know that Donald Trump may be the worst person in American history. He showed close to it to me. But the points that he makes on the border and it affecting black families really have to be paid attention to. And we cannot be so emotional about where the message is coming from. I think as black people, we often get caught up on where the message is coming from and we miss the title, we miss the entire message. So I am one who paid attention and went to do my own research on the effects of immigrants, both from the border and from other countries that they're letting in and giving these hand ups, but then not doing anything as it relates to the black man and woman in the inner city of these the urban areas of these inner cities. So that's where my heart is, and that's what I'm paying attention to.
Well, I would agree with you on the Israel piece totally. And part of that is going in right now. Harris has no other position to take other than neutrality at best. Because if you come in too strong against that Israel lobbyist group, I mean, you're doomed. I don't know what they do behind the scenes, but you be doomed. So you got to play this straddle the fence thing. You got to say something that says you have empathy for Palestine and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's a thin line, and every American president has to deal with it. And the most difficult time is when you're trying to win, because all of these folks in America that call themselves Christians, they think, feel, and believe there's some kind of commitment they have to make to this nation that's a rogue nation. So at the end of the day, it just shows the confusion. We know God's not the author of confusion, so we know that that confusion can't be from Him. It can only be created by man. So now you on that piece, and I would agree with you on Ukraine and Russia. It's like I always say, we have to either be directly or indirectly involved in war that seem to have to come with some subject matter that theoretically binds us together as Americans. That's why we have bombed the highest number of countries since Eisenhower. I mean, that's why many nations around the world view us the way we are viewed. But for us who are Americans, we do benefit. And that's the thing that is the catch-22. We do benefit. We can't deny that. So we just know that we've got to do the best we can to be the best we can. So beautiful, beautiful subject matter, my brother. This kind of leads me to another DNC question as well, brothers. I saw a lot of people of color give speeches, sing songs, be highlighted, talk about their life. Beautiful, beautiful. The question I have is that it's real simple. I'd like to hear you brothers' comments. Given what's going on in the world, did the DNC have too many people of color? Did they have too many folks telling their story? Did they have too many gay folks coming up there and you subliminally looking at who they are on the left side of the picture while they're speaking? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What did the DNC overdo it with the people of color, or with these lesbian, gay, transgender, I want to change my mind people alphabets? What was up with that piece, man? Did they overdo it, or was it right? Was it good? The balance was perfect. One way or the other, it was off. What are you thinking on that, my brothers?
I don't think it was. I don't think it was too much. I saw it as them turning it into a party, and people of color always bring the flavor. Little John up there singing, and he's saying, "Well, turn down for what?" And then he started, "We ain't gonna stop, or we ain't gonna go back." And there was more white people that was more singing harder than the brothers and sisters. So I don't think it was enough. I mean, I don't think it was too much. I think it was a well balanced. Now, again, I just, I'm gonna say it because I'm gonna get in trouble for saying it. But they've been stealing our flavor for years, man. They love us. They love us in that place where they feel we want to be like you all. We want to party with you all. We want to be accepted with you all. And in reality, we really want to be you all. But then there's something within us that,
Brother, you broke out, so I'm gonna jump in. But man, that's again one of those things that I kind of like warn my family about. Man, I've been texting back and forth, like, man, oh, hey brother, we lost you for a minute. If you want to repeat your statement for the past 2 minutes, we lost you.
okay, I apologize. What I wanted to say is that, again, I believe that for a number of white people, they love us. They want to be us. They want to follow us. And because of that fact, then they partied and they enjoyed the speakers and the musicians as much as we did, if not more. When Little John, I don't know if you all heard this part, when Little John came out there to sing Turn Down for What, it was more white people that was dancing harder than some of the people of color. So I think with that understanding, I don't think it was too much. And when it comes to the homosexuality piece, I feel that the United States that's unfortunately the United States. You have to address them. They are a force to be reckoned with, and you have to include them in the discussion or in the political process. I think when you think about the Republican Party, even they tried to have some rappers. They had Kid Rock, who is a white rapper, but has been accepted among black artists and black people. But you really didn't have a whole lot of other people who were of color. So I think the Republican Party went the polar opposite. They went maybe too white, or they weren't inclusive enough of having people of color speak. So I don't think they did too much. I think it was a well balanced. I was really shocked though that they had so many celebrities and musicians there, and they kind of turned it into a party. And they always want to come to the cookout and come to our party. So I don't think it was too much. Blessings to you all.
Peace, brother. I feel you on that, but from my perspective, I mean, they did what they normally do. I say that they pander. They want to pander to black folk, make them feel good, and oftentimes, forgive me, but oftentimes when you get black folks emotional, a lot of times logic goes out the window when it comes to listening for substance. So they get black folks to party. Let's give them some good music. Let's give them some good talk. Let's say the right things. Talking out black girl code, and they're gonna get riled up, but they're not gonna hear anything that we had to say as it relates to actually what we're gonna do or what we're not gonna do. And that's unfortunately that is the trick of most people when it comes to their relationship with black people. And unfortunately, Right, Wrong, or Indifferent, Candace Owens is one who actually points that out quite often. And then you turn on TV and you see the Democratic Party, and they got rappers and they got comedians, the court jesters. They bring out the court jesters for black people. They don't send the people with the checks that could cut the checks to black organizations. They just send out the court jesters, and we often are enamored by the court jesters, and we fall victim to it. And then once they get into office and they don't do nothing, then they say, "Well, we didn't promise you that. We was going to do it anyway. We didn't never say it. I don't have a track record to say I'm going to do this A, B, and C for you, but I did play some good music for you, and I gave you fried chicken at the banquet." So unfortunately, man, that's just the nature of how people deal with black folks, man. And it's, I thank God that I begin to pick up on that in my 30s, to see how people play on our emotional, because we are emotional people. I mean, I know I'm emotional, but I had to rise above emotion into the thanking of God to figure out, man, how are these folks playing with us? So like I said, I'd be lying if I said I didn't sit there and see Tim Walz's son and see when Barack and Michelle embrace each other and Kamala's sister. I'd be lying if I said I didn't sit there and had that spirit up in me. I'd be lying because I did. But I had to say, whoa, now, listen, keep listening. Don't get so emotional and the tears start running and you start hallelujah and you can't think about what's actually being said. So I took myself up out of that. I took myself up out of that. So we are who we are as a black people. We are emotional people. We are spiritual people. We are people who gets rattled or not rattled, get raved up by the drum beat. We are that people, but we have to begin to take ourselves out of those moments when it's wartime, when it's a critical time to get things done. So that's how I see it.
Beautiful,
Dr. Rogers, before you come back, I did want to bring up one point, and we can discuss it another time. But one of the things that I did notice, and compared to the RNC, was that that the women outnumbered the men, and that they showed a lot of women. But when you look at the crowd, there were a great number of women. And I don't know if they did that on purpose. I don't know if they did that because that's just population of the United States now. But I think that they dealt with a lot of women issues and not so much issues that pertain towards men. So that was one thing that I did notice. And I don't know if it was too much, but they definitely brought that point out.
Well, that's a great observation. And like I say, you cannot decry or complain about the level of diversity that was at that convention. There was definitely a bunch of diversity being displayed. And I'm sure that you're going to hear some people try to use that against the Democrats as well, on the level of diversity that was displayed. And the number of women, look at the number of Hispanic governors, the number of first-time women governors, first-time gay governors, and first-time, like Schumer talked about, I'm the highest-ranking Jew in the American politics, and Donald Trump is anti-Semitic. Then there was some other dude, I'm the highest-ranking this or that, the first, and, I mean, they were hitting a lot of points, man. And I'm sure if somebody go back and get all of those checkpoints, cheat points, or whatever you want to call them, that they were throwing out there, they had a whole different approach to their convention. And I know that the Kamala thing, it threw the Republicans for a loop because I have to agree with you, brothers. The Democratic Party put on an awesome convention, man. And now we just got to make sure that these politicians and these other people that interface with them use that $500 million wisely and doing what they need to do. And so, because I can tell you, This is a pivotal election. Many people have said that, but it is. All you got to do is step back for a minute and you could see. Now, there are many things in the Democratic Party I do not like at all, but I'd rather deal with some of those because they're more on a personal level than to deal with a person that wants to come in and be a dictator. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want a dictator coming in and accelerating the demise of this nation worse or faster than it's going to demise itself. But my brothers, it's been great time with you all today, and I pray that you're going to have a great day as you go out. I want to remind you, our listening audience, that hey, I hit that like button below. I share this with someone else. Become a subscriber. Smash the notification button so you know the next time we're on. We are Black Men Declare. We're here to share a black male perspective from a mature point of view. J.A. Rogers, Mike Side. Peace and love.